I was on the tractor and I was thinking about how people are always asking for practical advice. And should I share what I'm doing here? Because I guess it is sort of practical. Now, remember, I try to do as little practical thinking as possible. My whole vibe is, can we be impractical? This bed, this is what we started with. This is probably very close or worse than maybe new ground that you're working with. You can see there's the Cedrus Labani pendula, the other bed. Sorry, don't have the gimbal this morning. Over there's the long view of this bed. This is back over to the east. And of course, that would make this west. Thank you for the refresher on cardinal directions. This bed is where we're starting. This is it. You can see there's a lot of stuff in there. Alliums, violas, wild strawberry, probably many other things. But you can see, I just started clearing this yesterday. I've only been working on this bed for probably about less than 4 hours. And look where the progress we're already making. Look at the progress. Look at that. There's the classic before. And here's more the after. Now, I wouldn't say the after is prettier. The before is actually far prettier. But I think we can make something even prettier than this as we look in to the frost-kissed weeds / plants that we don't want / plants that we didn't choose / maybe plants that are okay but just not there. But look how clear this is now. I'm scraping the soil off here with a scuffle hoe. The reason I'm doing that is because there's a lot of invasive stuff in here. The violas, a lot of rhizomes, stoloniferous, centriole kind of plants. If you don't take some of this soil off, you're going to be dealing with those weeds persistently. The only other way to do this is to spray them down in the growing season. But this ain't the growing season. This is winter. So my only option here is to scrape. Now, because I've done this a lot, I'm pretty skillful with a scuffle hoe or a Dutch handled hoe. You have to be very delicately skilled with these instruments. There's a lot of jokes I could make there, but I'm leaving them all alone. I'm not trying to get canceled today yet. So the bed you can see now on the left where we cleared will be that way the whole direction. This soil here that you scrape off, this is soil you should save. If you've ever had dreams of composting, it should start with something like this. This is your composting dreams. It's the perfect amount of carbon and nitrogen. Do you know how I know? Because there was a whole bunch of shit growing in it that we didn't want. So you know it's fertile. Stop there. This thing, eventually, I'll take all this. I have an area in the very back that no one has seen yet that I have an idea for. It's a long-term project idea. So essentially, I'll be moving the soil that I scrape out of here through this whole bed. Yes, I said the whole bed. And it goes way quicker than you think. Now, granted, in the distance, I have the cheap, not that great Kubota tractor. But if you had a wheelbarrow that was decent quality, you could use one. Now, the other big thing, this is the soil, okay? We scrape that. That makes sense. And we take it, we put it in a wheelbarrow or a front loader, and we move it to the back, or we start a compost bin. That makes sense, right? The other question people always have is, well, what do you do with all that stuff? Well, I go through and I pull all of the big tall weeds and I throw them over here. They were all the weeds that came, all these same areas had those tall weeds. I put them over there and then I run them over with the tractor until they're obliterated in a tiny smithereens. Works beautifully. You're creating so much organic matter. Even the soil back here, switch cameras, I know. Even the soil back here will thank you for it. So there's easy ways to do this if you just think it through. That is one of the places where like decent tools do obviously help. But we'll just continue with this bed in that process. Really big stuff. This is actually the tap roots of the American polk plant or pokeweed. You can see this thing is enormous. It was in this bed. This, don't drive over with your tractor, okay? I'm not going to be responsible. Don't tell the Kubota, John Deere, New Holland, I'm looking for a sponsorship, somebody, that I told you to do that. But that's how I will do it. So eventually, this bed will get completely cleared. And then that bed will begin to allow us to frame in this whole vista that we're trying to create. Witch hazels, Hamamelis intermedia, Brigitte going to go in that big front bed. And then along with Hydrangea quercifolia, I think it's Queen of Hearts is the variety that's going in that bed. So that'll start to frame that up. It'll frame the trellis up. It'll be real pretty. I'll also maybe show you, that's the area where there was weeds over on Instagram or maybe here on YouTube Shorts. I'll take a photo of when all the weeds are there, and then I'll take a photo while I'm running over them, and then I'll show you an after. That's what you do to weeds. If you don't like them, obliterate them.